Chapter 22. Fort Christie. The vast conference room in the Vanguard base was buzzing with chatter, maps spread out across tables, the air charged with tension. Riker stood tall, eyes scanning the intel reports in his hands. The photos of the Chinese fortification, people working under duress, and bodies left as cruel reminders of the consequences of defiance were enough to churn his stomach. "We hit them head-on," Riker said decisively, looking up from the photos. "We cannot stand by while they force our people into slavery and execute the weak. This ends now." His military advisors exchanged uneasy glances. General Anderson, a seasoned veteran with years of experience in tactical warfare, was the first to step forward, voicing the group's concerns. "Riker, a direct assault on their fortifications is a suicide mission. They'll be expecting that. We'd be walking right into a trap." "Every day we wait," Riker countered, his voice thick with emotion. "Our people suffer. The fortification grows stronger, and we lose the advantage of surprise." Captain Scott joined in. "The Chinese have fortified positions, superior firepower, and an established perimeter. A head-on attack would result in massive casualties." Riker's gaze was unyielding. "I am not suggesting a reckless charge into the unknown, but we can't just sit here and strategize while they get stronger, and our people suffer. I'm saying we find their weakness, exploit it, and strike where they least expect." Anderson sighed. "A surgical strike would be more effective. Sabotage, disruption, maybe even a covert insertion to free the hostages." Riker slammed his palm on the table, making everyone flinch. "We're the Vanguard. We don't cower. We don't wait. We act. We will hit them, and we will hit them hard. I need you all to come up with a plan that lets us take that fortification and free our people." Riker's voice echoed through the room, resolute and fervent. "These guerrilla warfare tactics have proven ineffective. They're building fortifications in other cities as if we were not even a threat. How have they advanced so swiftly? They barely send out patrols anymore." He paced back and forth with frustration in his every movement conveyed his frustration. "We need to disrupt their momentum, understand their strategy, gather as much intelligence as we can on these fortifications." Riker stopped pacing and turned towards his military advisors, his gaze burning with desire. "This is not just about freeing our people. It's about reclaiming our land, piece by piece. We can no longer be the unseen and unheard shadows in the corners. We need to be the storm they never saw coming." The room fell into a pondering silence. Each person in the room could feel the power of Riker's words. It was more than a mission. It was about survival, about taking a stand. The room started buzzing again, this time with a renewed sense of purpose. General Anderson stood firm, his voice brimming with renewed resolve. "Then we strike with precision and force. We gather intelligence, understand their structures, and find their vulnerabilities. We form strike teams, each with a specific role and objective." Captain Scott leaned over the table, scanning the maps. "We need to gather intelligence on their troop movements, supply lines, and communication networks. We need to know where they are the weakest and where they are the strongest. And we need to do this quickly," Riker added sharply. "Every moment we waste in discussion is a moment they get stronger. Our people suffer more, and our chances of success diminish." The air buzzed with unspoken tension as Riker declared, "We move in 2 days." Eyes flashed, and mouths opened as if to argue, but the words were stilled before they could surface. The time for discussions, for debates, had evaporated, replaced by the silent acknowledgement of the monumental task ahead. Without another word, the room sprang into action. Orders were issued, and plans were set into motion. The echoes of a different time, a different Riker, reverberated in the minds of those who had known him from before. The man who had once been a beacon of warmth and kindness on YouTube, whose laughter and cheerfulness had resonated in the hearts of many, had metamorphosed into someone almost unrecognizable. The man who once shared the sweetness and joy of life had been replaced by a figure marked by resolve and hardened by loss and war. Those around him had seen his transformation, From the painful moment Mir was ruthlessly murdered by UN troops to the chaotic times that followed, marked by a relentless fight for survival in a world besieged by an apocalyptic nightmare. Each day had been a battle, each moment laden with the haunting echoes of a life and love lost. Riker's eyes, once filled with laughter and joy, were now windows to a soul that had traversed the corridors of pain and had seen the face of evil. But within those eyes also simmered a relentless fire, a flame kindled by the anguish of loss and fueled by the cries of suffering. It was this fire that had forged the leader before them, a leader whose every step was a stride against the shadows of oppression, whose every word was a rally cry for freedom. This new Riker was the embodiment of a collective resolve to confront the darkness and to reclaim the world that had been snatched away. The kind and sweet man from the past was still there, but he had evolved, transformed by the crucible of hardship into a warrior, a leader, a beacon of hope in the darkest of times. The contrast was stark, but it was this very metamorphosis that had ignited the spark of rebellion. As Riker had ordered, the mission was a go after 2 days of planning and preparation. Riker stood ready for what was to come. In the thick fog of the pre-dawn morning, a resilient resolve sharpened every shadow, etching silence with the anticipation of conflict, the very air infused with adrenaline. Riker, against the whispered protests of his advisors, boldly led the charge. The colossal Chinese fortification loomed ahead, wedged ominously between Corpus Christi International Airport and the city limits, a towering symbol of oppression under construction. The guttural cries of American slave laborers, coerced into relentless toil, fueled the determined steps of Riker and his team. The mission was clear, the objective etched in every mind plant: explosives, neutralize guards, free the enslaved Americans, and bring hell to the tormentors. Each heartbeat pulsed with a unified rhythm as Riker and his team silently advanced, blending with the shadows, every sense heightened. The clock, a relentless opponent, ticking away the minutes to sunrise, compressing time and intensifying focus. The chill in the air was pierced by Riker's silent commands, hands orchestrating a silent ballet of action as the team moved with seamless precision. Explosives planted with experienced hands, the smell of impending doom wrapped around each charge. Every step was a dance between shadow and light, every breath taken in stealth. Guards, oblivious to their looming fate, patrolled with a detached monotony, their fate sealed in the concentrated gazes of Riker and his team. The first sign of action was a whisper, a stifled cry as a guard slumped to the ground, taken out with practiced precision. The shadows were alive, creeping and coiling, a dance of silent warriors freeing enslaved Americans, the shadows whispering secrets of escape routes. Elsewhere, the rest of the Vanguard was a synchronized force of purpose, executing their roles with unswerving dedication. The air was a living entity, tightening around every soldier, the silence interwoven with unspoken promises of freedom and vengeance. With every rescued American, a renewed vigor filled the air, the energy of liberated souls propelling the mission forward. The intensity was electric, every movement a calculated risk, every second a tightrope walk between life and death. Then, the world erupted. The detonation was deafening, a symphony of destruction that tore through the fortification with fiery rage. The shockwaves reverberated through the ground, a tangible force of destruction. The entire fortification became a battlefield, the air ripped apart by gunfire and explosions, screams of terror intermingling with cries of freedom. The Vanguard moved like avenging spirits, their every action imbued with the spirit of rebellion, their every strike a blow against invaders upon their land. The guards were overwhelmed, the chaos a relentless tide washing over them, submerging them in a sea of retribution. Each member of the Vanguard fought with unyielding resolve, their movements sharpened by the need for swift victory. They cut through enemy ranks, their movements a blend of aggression and precision, a ballet of combat in the field of war. Liberated Americans, fueled by newfound hope and rage, joined the fray, their hands finding strength they didn't know they possessed, their hearts beating the drums of revolt. As the sun rose over the horizon, painting the sky with hues of hope, the battlefield was a living testament to the will of the free, a landscape marked by the relentless pursuit of freedom. Riker, his eyes reflecting the fire of rebellion and the strength of a united people, looked over the carnage, the air heavy with the smoke of victory and the echoes of a battle for liberation. In the fiery dance of victory, every shadow seemed a waltz of freedom, every sound that of conquest. The battle, seemingly enveloped in the arms of triumph, pulsated with relentless fervor as Riker and his newly freed comrades pressed forward into the stronghold. A tapestry woven with strands of resilience, every move a step closer to reclaiming back their freedom and land. In the flicker of a heartbeat, the tapestry tore, the strands unraveling into a canvas of despair. The momentum of battle, once a torrent of freedom, now shifted its course with relentless unpredictability. Riker, amidst the resounding cries of the liberated, felt the ground beneath him shift, his senses ensnared by a sudden eruption of terror. A gaping hole in the earth seemed to unhinge its jaw, revealing a line of Chinese armored behemoths, their metal hides glinting in the sunlight, their weaponry aimed with murderous precision. A cascade of machine guns, grenade launchers, and small artillery painted the skies with streams of deadly fire, the earth quaking beneath the onslaught. Riker stood, a statue among the chaos, his body seemingly encased in invisible ice, his eyes reflecting the horror unfolding before him. The air became a palette of crimson, warm splashes of blood painting Riker's skin, as the land around him became a garden of falling bodies. The serpent, rising from its earthen lair, slithered its death dance, and Riker, ensnared in its gaze, could not look away. His mind, a whirlwind of shock and horror, clung to the spectacle, each echoing shot a chain binding him to the vision of demise. Suddenly the world blurred as a strong grip seized Riker, dragging him away from the hellscape that was devouring his comrades. It was Henry, his face a mask of concern. The killing fields were an evil musical of death, yet hundreds of brave Texans, fueled by an indomitable spirit, chose to face the abyss rather than be swallowed by the chains of enslavement. As the battle raged around him, shadows danced with the spirits of the fallen. Riker, his senses regaining their footing, clung to the ember of hope, the flame of freedom still flickering in the hearts of the brave.